Hello, everyone. Welcome back to just another F1 podcast here on the Apex Motorsport. My name is Richard Smyth, and this is season 5, episode 2. Last time we discussed the news of Lewis Hamilton joining Ferrari, and this time we're going to be discussing all the latest news from the world of Formula One, as well as taking a look at pre-season testing, and of course discussing the launches that have happened over the past few weeks. Joining me to do that today is, of course, Ryan Caldwell and Tom Toseland. Ryan, I'll start with you. Formula One's back next weekend, and for me, it feels like a long time since we've had an F1 race. But in a weird way, it doesn't feel like F1's ready to come back. Are you thinking along the same lines, or are you just ready to get the new season underway?
I'm sort of 50-50. There's been plenty of other things going on in the sporting world that's kept my wee mind occupied elsewhere over January and February. Um, well, we haven't even got to the end of this month yet, and we're already going back to F1. So we didn't actually have too long to wait in the off season. Is Formula One ready to go back? I don't think so. I actually don't. This is probably one of the first times in about 5 years, 6 years that I'm not hyped about an F1 season, and it's a weird vibe. It's like, I don't know, is it because we think we know Red Bull's going to dominate because of that unreal Twitter clip we heard of the car screaming past and everyone saying it sounds like R2D2 holding on for dear life, but that car does sound amazing, to be honest. I just think it is going to be another Red Bull year. Liveries are liveries. Liveries don't tell you performance of cars. That's why we wait for testing. I'd say once testing starts, I'll probably start to get a wee bit. Oh, here we go. Come on. When's the first race? Do I have to wake up early? Hopefully not. And then eventually we get back into the swing of things where we start enjoying the racing again until Max wins 17 million in a row. And then we'll cry about it. Twitter will go mad. I mean, X will go mad. Not your ex, Max's ex. No, that's Daniel's ex. No, that's the wrong Danny. Okay, we're going off track already. Um, but no, F1 has a few wee troubling bits going on in the background at the minute. So I don't know. I don't like that Gunter's left. That's another point, but you know, it's in a bit of a state at the minute, especially with them just renewing contracts with tracks, which is, I suppose, okay, but at the same time, like, please bring back Hockenheim. Just bring back Hockenheim. That's the only one we want to hear. I don't want to hear about another street race. They're talking about Chicago now. No, thank you. No, thank you. Liberty Media. Goodbye. I want this. I want a real track. But aside from that, yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 ready. Hello, Tom. On to you.
Yeah. Well, Tom, the off season has been very much dominated by loads of big stories. Some good, mostly bad for Formula One. From the likes of Andretti being told that they can't enter the sport at the moment, to Hamilton joining Ferrari, and then more recently, the whole situation that's going on with Christian Horner. Do you think that Formula One is going into the season sort of on the back foot, where the attention isn't necessarily going to be what's happening on the track, that it's these off-track stories that are dominating the headlines?
Yeah, I think these, especially the Christian Horner one, I think, yeah, it's definitely, that's going to leave a bit of a cloud over the season. It's something, I think it's something, if he does end up being let go by Red Bull, it's going to be something that's going to be constantly, well, actually, it might not constantly be brought up, but I think there's a chance that it's always going to be a query for the presenters to potentially go to over the season, depending how Red Bull are performing. I think as well, there's a lot of is unrest really the word? I think unrest at the moment in Formula One. There's a lot of stuff, people aren't really enjoying the racing. Last year wasn't that great. The Andretti thing is just very silly. And yeah, it's not a great feel at the moment with the sport. It's not in the best place, considering we've been in a bit of a boom over the last 3 to 4 years now. But yeah, I feel like there is going to be a bit of a cloud over the season. I think really what depends on how much that is going to affect people's view towards Formula One is how good the racing is this season. So if it's good, it will take I think it'll take some of the cloud away as people kind of are just talking about the good racing. But what I predict, it'll probably be similar to last season, and a lot of people will have to just end up still talking about the same points. And yeah, I feel like it's going to basically leave a bit of a cloud on the sport, which is some people's own fault.
Yeah, well, let's start by touching on what's going on with Christian Horner and Red Bull. We'll obviously not go into too much specifics because we don't know the full details of what's going on. Obviously, there's an investigation underway, but we know that there's been reports and allegations of inappropriate behavior by him, by a Red Bull employee. And, well, we've heard numerous reports that he was told to stand down, he was offered to resign, and there's been these alleged payments by him. Obviously, they're unconfirmed and from various different sources, but it does. Red Bull were going into the season as dominant force. They still are. Max Verstappen still clear favourite to win the championship, but they're going in now where there's reports that Verstappen's dad, Jos Verstappen, and Christian Horner, their relationship isn't great. That could cause some friction between Max Verstappen and Christian Horner. And the one person we haven't really heard from is Sergio Perez. He's been very quiet. But Ryan, let's start with you in this one. Do you think that with everything that's going on, it's not ideal preparation for Red Bull, or do you think that the preparation for the season was done, prior to the end of last one, that you know, we're not really going to have a knock-on effect to maybe later in the season when upgrades come in, or maybe not at all, given his roles to run the team. He's not the one who designs the car, that's Adrian Newey.
I was literally just about to say that last point you made. Adrian Newey, Nunes? Adrian Newey has been cooking some masterpiece up here somewhere in the Red Bull kitchen. That guy has definitely been starting that since probably about April. So pretty much about a month and a bit into the F1 season. There's no way, once they knew that car was solid in the first half of that season, they knew that car was going to be solid after the first 3 races, because they were ahead at the start of the season by nearly a whole damn lap and a half in like their first race. Crazy. So yeah, Newey's been cooking. The team dynamic, Red Bull's always been a toxic place. It's been a toxic place since Sebastian Vettel left, I would imagine. So yeah, I think this is just another day in the office for Red Bull in general. So this thing's just going to be pushed to the side, focus on work, focus on getting the car prepped, ready, make sure everything's fixed up. And as the football reporter says, dotting the T's, crossing the I's, and we'll we'll get everything prepared for the season. Christian Horner's situation, that's a personal thing for him that's to deal with. It's nothing to deal with the team. It's an act against him, not against the Red Bull team as a whole. So he needs to sort his end out. But as Mr. F Formula One himself, Craig Slater, said, he seems to be standing his ground. He did mention that he believes in his confidence that he's innocent. So why resign when you believe you're innocent? That's quote I seen on Sky Sports TV today, so we can definitely use that one. I think the team will have a wee bit of unrest, but it's not going to affect on-track performance. You've got Max Verstappen, who's just going to blitz that car as hard as he wants, and he will still just dominate. I'd say testing, they're going to sandbag the whole way through, or they could showboat like they usually do. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Tom, your thoughts on that? Are you sort of in agreement that as much as it's not ideal for Red Bull, it's not going to get too much in the way because it is, as Ryan said, it's another day in the office for them?
Yeah, so I think it's like the Steiner situation really. It's the Steiner obviously went quite late into the development of this year's car, so there wasn't really much there wasn't going to be much difference with replacing him at that point. The car, it was already like done basically. So I think with getting rid of Horner at this point, for this season, I don't think it'd make too much of a difference. Obviously, from a leadership point of view, they would lose that kind of head of it all, but there'll still be remnants of that leadership integrated in the team because he's been there so long. But if it's some of the stuff that has been alleged, if it's as bad as that, he probably should go, because you shouldn't have anyone like working like that in the workplace. But at the same time, as Ryan said, if he does believe he's innocent, there's not, unless they can prove it wrong, there's obviously not much they can do. But yeah, I feel like if he does go, as I said, I don't think there'll be too much effect this season, because there's still going to be traces from before he left in the team for probably most of the season.
Yeah, and it's that old saying, innocent to proven guilty. And I think it'll be a case of, once the investigation is finished, if he has to stand down or is forced out of Red Bull, that will be entirely based on the conclusion of the investigation. That, well, I think they hope that will be sorted before the Bahrain Grand Prix, but it might take several months. And I think F1 have said themselves that they want them to get this moving along, because it won't look great if the first race of the season, all the focus is on Christian Horner, rather than, oh, this is a new F1 season. We've got newly renamed teams, and as much as they're not great names, but the focus will be on off the track stuff. And during testing, you just don't want 8 hours a day of people talking about, should Christian Horner go. So we'll leave that on that, and obviously when we know further, we will discuss that in due course, of course. But another bit of F1 news has happened since the last podcast. Was contract extensions to both Japan and Silverstone. The Silverstone announcement video was a little bit interesting. I seen it pop up on Instagram and confused me first off what it was, and then I was like, oh, that's they're announcing that they signed a 10-year extension deal, which is massive for Silverstone. When I've been going there in the past, it's been always the talk of, this could be the final race. They can't use that line anymore. They can't hike up ticket prices that much to say that this is the final race. But yeah, Ryan, start with you. Silverstone and Japan, but we'll mainly discuss Silverstone. Another 10 years there. British Grand Prix has been secured in a time where a lot of the historic tracks seem to be under threat. And well, at the moment, it looks like we're not going to go ahead and bring back the Birmingham street circuit or head to London. So we're staying in Silverstone for a while.
Great. It is a great thing that we're remaining pretty much exactly where F1 belongs. Home. Let's be honest, the UK is the home of Formula One. It has been, it was, it is. Everyone wants to be here. Even the teams that aren't from here have their bases here. Well, obviously apart from the two exceptions, but they're doing just fine. But Silverstone, what a day! See, on a sunny day, it looks incredible. The racing there is always good, going through Maggots and Beckett's, and you've Cops, and then the Hamilton Straight. Everyone likes the Hamilton Straight. It's just a very, how do you put it, a humble day of racing, and it's good to have those two events as well as Japan, because Japan pretty much built quite a few of these teams with the Honda powertrain. Whether it wasn't good for Fernando Alonso in a McLaren, it was a GP2 engine, but hey, he tried. I don't know. I don't exactly know where I'm going. I just know that Silverstone is one of the most historic tracks ever. Formula One is almost as old as, actually, well, the track's technically older, because obviously it used to be an RAF base back in the World Wars. But Formula One just belongs there. If they weren't at Silverstone, you might as well cancel F1, because I ain't gonna care. Who's gonna want to watch Formula One in Las Vegas, in New York, in Cincinnati, and Maryland, and some other place in Florida, and no, that's what Formula One's gonna be, because everything's going to street circuits in America now. Like, I'm fed up. I just want my racetracks back. Bring back Hockenheim. And maybe Sochi if things get resolved. But yeah, everyone hates Sochi. I like Sochi. It's a cool track. Yeah. I like Sochi.
No.
Olympic Park, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Look,
Tom. Yeah. Are you disappointed that Darlington Park hasn't had a look in again? Or are you
No,
just glad
Rockingham Speedway. Where's Rockingham Speedway? Where is Rockingham Speedway in Corby? That's what I want. That's what I've been waiting
Caldwell
for.
Park.
They said they'd do it in the 90s. It was a venue that was going to be made for Formula One and IndyCar, and we've never seen a Formula One race there. Now they just park cars on it, but and use it as a test track for Cinch. But anyway, yeah, no, as someone who lives quite close to the track, it's probably a venue I visit many times a year, and for various reasons. And even though I do have a bit of a love-hate relationship sometimes with it, like them installing gates at Brooklyn, so I can't walk along the steps to get to the next part of the seating section, but it's okay. Yeah, no, it is probably the best venue. It is the best venue in the UK. There's such large circuit compared to everywhere else, lengthwise. Then you've also got the facilities there are just the best in the country by an absolute mile, and you just really it's there's so much history there. There's and obviously F1's been there literally. Well, it was the first race F1 race was held at Silverstone. There's so much history there. It has to be at that venue. It just wouldn't feel the same if you did it as at an MSV venue. It wouldn't even work at an MSV venue because I don't think they're not good enough to host F1. So it's just it is really the only place you could probably hold it in the country unless you did a weird street circuit thing. But then if you did a street circuit say in London, it just feel artificial. Silverstone it's a great circuit. It's got great corners. It's got great fans every year, and it really they really care about having the Grand Prix there. It's not like one of these venues that's just in it for the money. It's like most time they break even or they struggle to make a profit. So it's somewhere that they're going to really take good care of you, and most of the time, especially with these new cars, you get good racing there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it there, and it's also great for the local community as well to have it, just because of all the race teams that are based there and all the obviously all the business surrounding it. It's always good for them as well. So yeah, it's just fantastic to see it back there, and hopefully I'll go one year.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to next year seeing Hamilton and the Ferrari driving around Silverstone. I feel like that's going to be, especially if Ferrari can get their act together this year and make a massive step forward. And next year, if they can challenge the title next year with Hamilton, Silverstone is going to be rocking because they'll be halfway through the season, and hopefully the crowd at Silverstone is always great, but next year I think this year being the final year Mercedes, a lot of Mercedes being the local team as well.
Yeah.
There'll be probably a lot of reflection there too. But yeah, Silverstone staying great. Although I do think
I've still got
bring
George
back a
as a
European
British
Grand Prix.
driver, and
Actually,
we've got
yeah.
Lando as well. So there's
Yeah.
still plenty of Britishness.
I think it's going to be really weird as well. And it's going a bit off topic. Obviously, I'll probably jump into a point you want to get to in a minute, but obviously we've got Lewis going to Ferrari. So like Reds, if the fans do follow, not necessarily they will, but I assume they will. It's going to be weird to see Silverstone in red because it's not like it's the Italian Grand Prix or Imola where you obviously expect that. It's going to be really. It's going to be a bit odd if there's loads of Hamilton fans just in red, but I think that would just enhance the atmosphere. To be fair,
yeah, I think to touch quickly on the point you said, Ryan, about Russell and Norris, I felt like in the past few years, the British fans there very much got behind Russell and Norris, and there's numerous factors behind that. But last year, whenever Norris he was leading the British Grand Prix at one point. They've sort of stepped in to fill the gap where Hamilton is a very popular figure, especially Silverstone, but there's still a lot of fans who don't like him for various reasons, some awful reasons. But where Norris and Russell come in, they come in this young, they appeal to the younger audience, and Drive to Survive may have had a factor in that, the way they portrayed very active on social media.
And the
two
fact
very
Hamilton's literally not in it,
Yeah.
you know, that
but
doesn't help his case either.
yeah, two very likable drivers, great personalities, and I think that's maybe why this contract signed for Silverstone pushed for a 10-year contract, because they know these two drivers, maybe not 10 years, but at least the next 6, 7, 8 years, they're going to be racing there. And then you've got like Oliver Bearman coming through, and you've got a lot of young British talents coming through as well in the Feeder Series. So yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to point out, just moving away from the junior drivers as well, because I agree completely with what you're saying. There is a lot of English talent coming through at the moment, and a lot of them are probably going to be, I think, top drivers at the look at the moment, especially Berman. But with that as well, there's a lot of investment going into Silverstone as well, as we know. Obviously, they're building the karting track there. Recently, you've had the museum being built. I think as well, I haven't seen it too much recently. They're installing electric bikes and stuff up there as well. I think I saw last year's Grand Prix. I might need to check that. So. But there's and then obviously the Hilton has only really just been built like last year or two now. So actually, last year or two now. So obviously they've put a lot of money in it, and then to just lose the Grand Prix after putting all this money in would probably be, well, it'd probably end them, to be fair. But yeah, I think they needed the long deal because they probably need to try and make some money back. Well, make a bit of money from the investments they've put into place at the moment, and that's another great thing about Silverstone as well. Is they at the moment, I think they're doing a really good job at investing in the fans. I don't think in the past, from obviously knowing the circuit quite well, there hasn't been a great amount of investment in the fan experience apart from the racing. So I think to get these other parts coming to the circuit as well has really improved the experience, because if you're at a club event, say like 750 Motor Club or something like that, if you kind of just get bored with the racing or there's a lunch break, you now can go to the massive merch store at the Hilton Hotel, and there's so much you can actually do there if you're not necessarily, if there's a break in the racing, or you just want to go Silverstone for, like, if say you don't live near, you just want to come to Silverstone to see Silverstone, you've now got these things to do while you're there. So I think it's really good to see what they've been doing over the last couple of years.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of progress in Silverstone the past few years. I was going to the British Grand Prix, and then haven't been going the past few years basically because of how expensive it's got.
Yeah.
But I've been to other events at Silverstone, and I've seen how much the place has changed, and it's quite impressive how much it has changed. Like my only issue with Silverstone is if you don't drive, it's pretty much impossible to get to, especially for club events.
Yeah.
Like I remember whenever I was in uni, I didn't have my car. I was having to get a bus to Silverstone on the Saturday, getting the bus to Silverstone Village, then walk all the way to the circuit, and then on the Sunday you're just relying on taxis.
And with the early start times of the events as well, it's pretty. Well, if you want to get on time, it's dire. But it's near impossible as well.
Yeah.
And just going back to what you said on, like, you obviously seeing the change over the last couple of years. I wouldn't say as well. This might be a bit of a controversial opinion, but I'd say probably from when they built the wing to the changes they've been doing now, there hasn't actually been that much change in the circuit in the last 10 years until they started investing recently. So I think it is really actually good to see them investing in the circuit, because there was a long period where I felt, as a fan who went there a lot, there was nothing really on offer there. You just go watch the racing, go home, and there was nothing really like wow compared to what there is now.
Yeah, I think the next thing for them could be renovate the national pits and make that paddock feel special, because it just feels like a normal paddock compared to other circuits.
Did you know they have tiles in one of the paddock that were laid by McLaren one year because they were sponsored by a tile company, and then they've never ripped them up. So one of the pits has one of the pit garages has these really nice tiles.
This is the knowledge we need in this podcast.
I heard it on commentary once. Yeah, they said it on commentary once at Silverstone. So look, there you go, knowledge.
Yeah. Well, final sort of bit of F1 news that's come out since the last podcast. Anything to note has been changes to the sprint weekend format. Now, obviously, this is a bit of an old news now, but there's not that much to report on other than the fact that they've rejigged the schedule and that sprint qualifying will now take place on the Friday night instead of the Saturday morning, and then the sprint race will take place Saturday morning, with Grand Prix qualifying Saturday afternoon. Ryan, do you think this format works a lot better?
Yes. About time we have a nice, simple format where the one thing that should follow the next actually follows the next. Because Saturday was just all about sprint. And if you weren't too fussed about sprint, you didn't really care. Because everyone's been was just well, we still have it. Thank you. We still have our 3 sessions. We still have our qualifying then. So 2 sessions, a session and a qualifying, then the race on a normal weekend. So now what you're saying is we have our normal sessions, we have a session and a qualifying for sprinties. We then have our sprinty and qualifying for the main race, and then we have our main race. 2, 2, 2. All nice and simple instead of this, that, race on Sunday, and then something else the next weekend. We finally just have something that I can remember that makes sense to me. Thank you very much, Formula One. You did well for once. But please stop going to America for all your races.
Or go to good American circuits instead of just doing street circuits. Go to like Indianapolis or Watkins Glen. Go Watkins Glen.
That's what I was just about to say, Watkins Glen. I couldn't remember it. Yeah, I was about to say some stupid thing instead of that, but okay.
Just anywhere in America. Laguna Seca, Road America.
Ciao, we have to go and win the Piston Cup.
Daytona 500. That's on as we're filming. So there you go. They can do that. Just do a massive oval, see what happens.
Do you not remember the last time Formula One tried that with Firestone tires? Yeah, things went kaboom.
Well,
2005.
The actual sprint weekend had to be signed off by the F1 Commission, and alongside the changes. So for anyone who has been living under a very heavy rock since news broke, Friday will be FP1 and sprint qualifying. Saturday will be sprint and GP qualifying, and Sunday will be the Grand Prix itself. But additional news from that, the power units will be increased from 3 to 4, probably because we've got one extra race. And DRS will be activated after 1 lap rather than 2 in the sprint. So it should make the second lap of the sprint race just a little bit more exciting, because all of a sudden you've got drivers who will just try to break away at the first lap to get out of DRS zone.
It's to stop Max Verstappen from dominating.
Yeah. But no reverse grids yet. Yeah. Well, I think it's time we talk about the launch and livery season. Very sort of underwhelming, I think is the word I could use for it. It didn't feel the same, but I much preferred it because there wasn't 2-hour-long shows of the different AlphaTauri fashion weeks and Ferrari dancing.
Let's just say 95% of the cars is like a Lynx can, where it is mostly carbon with a very little vinyl.
Other deodorant brands are available. Let's go in order of when they were launched or released. Liveries released. Haas. It's
that's acceptable. It's pretty clean. Yeah. It's clean.
We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into.
2016. It's 2016 Haas. You know.
It's just a Haas.
It's just a Haas.
Yeah. It's there's not really too much you can say on it. Yeah, it's distinctly
it's the Haas minus Gunter. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's obviously one minus point there.
Just,
yeah. There literally is nothing we can really say other than it's very Haas-like.
Yeah, it's black. It has a white logo on it. It's got a bit of red on the wing and front wing, and they're sponsored by MoneyGram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But putting that in your head, and that's probably what it looks like.
Yeah, it's very Haas-like.
Yeah.
Haas
Um,
is elite.
But it has Nico Hulkenberg, and he's going to get a podium at some point. Hopefully, maybe he won Le Mans, so he can get a podium at some point. Maybe, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, next team. But I think one thing that I seen with I think it was P1 with Matt and Tommy. Tommy Bellingham said that the the order that they launched in could be seen as the final standings of the Constructors' Championship at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Which it's fair. Haas bottom, Williams, Steak, Alpine, Visa, Cash App, RB, Aston Martin, Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull. Mercedes and McLaren you can intertwine the same day, but
No. I think McLaren have something.
well,
Why would they release so early? Well, technically, actually, that would mean McLaren would be last because they released very early,
well,
unofficially.
they launched their livery. If you're chatting liveries, they were first and by quite some margin, which I still maintain that was a leak, and someone accidentally tweeted out rather than scheduling the post, they accidentally clicked tweet now. Because it was very very early. So next team Williams, it's an evolution of their previous car, I think, and ironically have got the Haas team principal's name on the side of it. Yeah, it's blue.
It's imagine a Williams livery,
It's all
and then it's kind of like the British flag.
I think the livery they ran at Silverstone last year with the Union Jack in the back is still one of my favorite liveries.
Well, let's just say it's not quite Colgate 2019 livery that everyone
No,
tried to rinse them for.
which was a great livery, which never actually got the. It never seen the track, didn't
because
it?
of Rocket.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
Damn you meddling kids.
Next team, Steak, Cyber, Kick, Cyber.
I'm just gonna call them the Glowberry Prime.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they are.
I said this when it launched. It kind of looks like they green screened the car in, but then forgot to fill some parts out on it where the green is.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't.
For some reason, right? If you take the Kick sponsorship out of it, and they'd put like a what would you call it? Like not a light blue, but like a reflective, metallically bright blue, like neon type thing across those areas where it's that. I think that would have looked sick.
But Kick do have a neon like green logo, I think, as well. So if they're just done that,
green. It's not blue. Actually, I think even neon yellow would look nicer than the green. It's because the green's like neon but matte.
I see what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah. If it was matte, no, if it wasn't matte, if it was glossier, because it's very matte. It's like it wants to be luminous, but it's matte. At least just make it gloss, Get some 3M, get some 3M glossy green tip, do the same thing.
It does look like one of those like glow in the dark cards that you'd pick up in like Tesco. Or something like one of those Hot Wheels.
It's definitely something you could see being sold as a Hot Wheels car.
Yeah.
If it was yellow, it would look like a Renault F1 car from 2018.
Yeah.
It's different. It's the biggest change up of any livery, obviously because Alfa Romeo aren't there anymore. But I think it's what we expected in a way.
What I will say is, from their press release photos, Valtteri Bottas looks kick ass. He looks cool. He looks cool in that new suit. Their new racing clothing, I guess, would be the correct terminology, or race suits.
I think since he's left Mercedes, he's just become very cool. I don't know.
He's
It
like
just
on
seems,
his
Yeah.
anti-villain arc almost,
yeah. I
where he
don't know.
just wants to have fun.
He seemed like boring man at Mercedes with his like short hair and just no beard, and he just seemed like Mr. Boring Man. And now he's come to Sauber, and he's like Giga Chad man with his like mohawk and beard
Big
and yeah, and
Botas.
his sunglasses. He's just cool now. He's just left Mercedes and he's become cool. He's just
Yeah.
he's too hip for F1.
Okay. Next team, Alpine. Controversially, as much as there's very little color in the car, I quite like it.
I
I
like
like
it.
it. It's so simple. It's so simple, but it's so effective. It's really
think
nice.
I think everyone was just bored of the carbon at this point, and I think that's why it got a lot of hate. But I think it actually works really well. I never really liked the livery when they incorporated the pink. I always thought it looked better when they had the little French flag incorporation on the car. So I think now
Yeah.
they've kind of gone to this slightly different look. I really like kind of just the outline of the blue and pink on the car and the black as well. I think it really just blends with the car quite nicely.
Yeah, I think the original Alpine livery that had like the French flag at the back, or at least the French colors, I still think it's the best Alpine livery they've had. But
The first one they did,
yeah,
like when they first rebranded, yeah. Actually, no,
yeah,
before they added the pink, the first renders before they added the BWT
yeah,
pink, where it was just that full metallic blue body with the red accents. Oh my, what a car! That see that first livery season when they did that, as well as Aston Martin, they did it with they initially leaked it with the green, like the lime green, but then they went to the pink. No, they had the pink, then they went, I can't remember what way around I'm going here, because BWT sort of bounced between them two. But
yeah.
those two teams, that Aston Martin with the like metallic green, like dark green, and then you had the Alpine with the metallic blue. Oh, that was what a season of liveries we had then. We actually had colors. Wow.
Yeah. The next team, one that got a lot of praise online purely for the fact that it's not got a lot of carbon visible, is Visa Cash App RB, also known as VCarb or Racing Bulls, that are in no way at all affiliated with Red Bull. Yeah, just to get that confirmed. They're two completely separate teams that are definitely not owned by the same company, and the RB definitely stands for Racing Bulls and not Red Bull.
It's
Are we
like
all in
how
agreement?
Toro Rosso definitely does not translate into Red Bull.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's the same analogy.
Well, this livery is given old Toro Rosso vibes, I think. Like Brendan Hartley, Pierre Gasly era.
Someone rang up Terrell, did they?
Yeah. Well, what's your thoughts on this one? It's nice, but I think the big block of Hugo stands out a bit too much, and it's very distracting. The white chunk in the car.
It's not too bad.
I think it looks like they're like when they sponsored Sauber liveries kind of thing. If like when Rebel sponsored Sauber, it reminds me a lot of that. Kind of it kind of looks like an energy drink on a car. Like, if that makes sense. Like, it looks like one of their cans in a way, kind of.
Yeah. I feel like that's what they always were trying to do with Toro Rosso was, and I'm surprised Toro Rosso never used special liveries to promote a new can of Red Bull coming out.
Yeah.
Because we all remember the jokes of, whenever Aston Martin were copying and whenever they were doing well, the green cans of Red Bull, a chrome one or like whatever the sugar-free color is, I think that would look a really good color in the livery. You don't agree with me, Ryan?
Nah, because they pretty much sort of did that in a way. I don't know. Like, you look at their old Red Bull car from like when they bought the team over and whatever year it was, like 04, 05, was it? I can't mind. and it was like pure my gas. Yeah, that's like what their old Red Bull cans used to look like. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm looking at the livery now. I've had to get it up on the phone because I completely forgot exactly what it looked like. I actually quite like it. Yeah, the wing design, just front on, it's like having a big white mustache. I think they should have just kept that all black with the Hugo on it instead of the white with the Hugo. But I do quite actually like this. It's actually not too bad. If they had the Hugo line at the front end, if that was actually more swoopy instead of direct, like, diagonal line at like 45 degrees or whatever, I think that would actually look really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
The back of the car
Yeah,
looks really
it's
nice. From like this half back, it's quite nice. Well, hold on. From like that. Oh, I have disappeared. From like
there we go.
that part back, that looks
There we
really
go.
good. Yeah, it's in and out. But from that half back, it looks really nice. That wee bit at the front,
Yeah.
no, it's quite nice actually. I do like it.
Yeah. And obviously, you know that AlphaTauri are now the clothing sponsor of the FIA. Make of that what you will.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine that?
Next team.
Can you sorry, why you mentioned that? Can you imagine that? Like them just all turning up in meetings, like, wow, I'm loving my AlphaTauri clothing. And they're just all in these like really like they're all 50-year-old men, and they're all in these like really hip t-shirts and jumpers and hats, and got some tracksuit bottoms on. We're going to talk about the new safety regs, and they're just in the tracksuit.
Right, Aston Martin, same but slightly different and good.
Still as beautiful as ever.
Yeah.
I think the Aston Martin livery is a bit like, spoiler alert, the Red Bull livery. It's iconic because of the color scheme, and you don't have to do much to it. Red Bull, copy and paste. Aston Martin, it's a copy and paste job again, but it works well.
So good.
Yeah.
The only thing they could do to make it even nicer is make it more metallic. It just looks so good. I'm not going to say chrome because that's a wee bit over the top and super blinding, especially in a very warm, hot desert Catalonia day. But
that would come into their advantage. Then they blind everyone behind them, and it's like, oh, I can't see. And then
I really do like the cars now. I said from the start I was gonna get it and asked. How do I put it? If the Aston Martin clothing was not so dear, I would have a jacket, but it's too dear. It's just the color scheme with the wee lime green and the green, and it looks so good.
Yeah,
man. It looks so good. Mamma mia.
Well, speaking of that, Ferrari, great time they're in. They do their best to incorporate the branding of McDonald's this year by bringing in the red, white, and yellow.
It's very similar to that wet. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's very similar to that wet livery.
They're, as Ryan is illustrating to us, anyone listening to the podcast format, Ryan's holding us at marker pens or, yeah. I like it. The yellow, I think, works quite well. The white stands out, and the team wear is interesting, but the driver suits I really like.
I miss the black.
Team wear is questionable.
I miss the black. I like the black when they were the last couple of years where they've had like the red and black. I think that looks really. The way I think of it, it's like it looks really cold. If that I don't use that word much, but it looks really cool when with the red and black. And I don't know, I don't like it when they mixing other colors because I just think it makes it look a bit artificial. But
all I will say is that I was glad their team launch was nice and quick this time on like the SF90 or whatever it was called, where we had a whole song and dance.
So why are you a Ferrari fan?
Yeah. No, that's the one thing across the board. The team launches this year were nice and sharp and on time, and I think they realized that no one wants to sit for half an hour listening to drivers harp on about it's a great looking car, knowing that they probably don't like it. And whenever there's been stories, like Hamilton, I think the first question in the Mercedes one was to Hamilton, "You're going to Ferrari then?" It wasn't. It's a nice car, isn't it? So yeah, they cut out the bit that no one's interested in, showed the car, or if they did have interviews, they showed the car first. It was great. Everyone then could click off after that. Speaking of Hamilton, Mercedes next up. Them and McLaren launched their cars in the same day. Um, Mercedes is they're keeping the black Mercedes, but the top of it they bring back the silver, and I think it works quite well. It's one of my favorite liveries, and I think the red, the Iona's red, has been blended in a lot better than it has been in the past. Ryan, do you in agreement there? Do you think that it works? It's just an evolution of something that the black Mercedes livery is becoming quite iconic.
When they first did it, obviously due to things that were going on in the world at that time, that I have to say that was probably one of my favorite liveries they've done. It just the way that we actual individual Mercedes three-pointed stars were all spread across the car, and you've seen them. And then obviously you could see Nicky Lauda's red three-pointed star even more visually because it stood out. That whole time, that whole era, oh, that car looked great. They are bringing back the silver back, yes. And once again, I'm looking at it, and I did make a point earlier that whenever the car is turning out of a pit garage, or you see the camera from a frontal side-on angle. So if this was it, your camera would be like here instead of front on or full side. It'd be like here. That big turquoisey swoop at the side, it looks weird. I don't know how to feel about that yet, but obviously it'll just become second nature at some point. Yes, overall the car does actually look quite nice. It's just yeah, it's gonna be one of those ones that give my eyes a few races to focus on, and then I'll eventually say, oh my god, I love it.
Yeah. Tom, to me, it looks a bit from the front view. It looks a bit Formula E. Whenever Mercedes had a team there.
I think the car is. I really like it. I really like it. It's definitely what I've always found is I get tired of the liveries. So I always think, gosh, I wish they'd change back to the silver livery. And then when they changed back to the silver livery, I was thinking, gosh, I wish they went back to the black livery. So now I've got the best of both worlds. So I can't get bored. So
Damn,
yeah,
I wish they would have no livery at all.
Yeah, now I can't get really that bored with it because it's got bits from both, and I really like. I don't know. I really like how the silver fades into the black, and it just. I don't. It looks. And then it kind of separated by the turquoise line, the black and the grey, and I really like it.
It's the Hannah Montana car. What? I was gonna say it's the Hannah Montana car. It doesn't know whether it wants to be Hannah or Miley.
You get the best of both worlds, then yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. McLaren, very early to kick us off. Obviously, we've seen the actual new car. Caldwell's opinion, I'm not a massive fan of it. But I feel like McLaren's one of them teams that have a million different special liveries throughout the year that we probably won't get to see that livery that much anyway.
But let's be honest, that Gulf livery in Monaco, oof.
Yeah, that's still up there as one of my favorite liveries ever.
Oof. I just want a chrome, a proper chrome Vodafone McLaren. Just a proper one, not like the one they did last year. Where it was
that was awful. Everyone was expecting full chrome, and it was like a half a mixy
Vodafone. It has to be Vodafone McLaren chrome, and with little bits of orange on it, and that will because he said it was we don't want to lose identity from this season. Yeah, that's fine. Don't put Vodafone red on the car, then just make it orange and properly chrome.
Chrome it, but use the Coca-Cola sponsor as the red. Abuse your Coca-Cola sponsorship.
Yes.
Exactly, Tom. Exactly.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, going back to this livery, yeah, it's a bit dead. To be fair, it's not great. It's just a bit of orange and black, and it's not as cool as their IndyCar liveries.
They just said, "Hey, there's a can of Fanta. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll just spray it on the car, see what happens."
Yeah. disappointing
fair
for
enough.
McLaren to,
And then finally, Red Bull.
It's a Red Bull.
Copy and paste. Same car as always.
Copy and
but
paste with some blue.
You.
Yeah.
Some more blue.
It's
Blue
nice.
bus.
It's iconic. It works well. No need to change something that's already nice.
I miss the purple though. I wish they put some purple on it again. You know,
Yeah,
like
the
in the
Infinity
early
purple, yeah.
2010s,
I
when it was-
want a special testing livery. Come
Yeah.
on, guys. Where is those awesome black and blue camos, the black and white camos, and then that special red, like, ace one, whatever that was? It was really cool. I want that again. That was really nice.
Let's just do a gold one because they've won the championship or something like that.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
A gold Red Bull. That actually, you know what? With all their logos and partners, I think that would look sick. That actually would look unreal.
Employ me, Red Bull, as your
Damn.
livery designer. I'll do it on like
Tom,
Forza or something.
Get you on Photoshop and get something mocked up. We need to send that to HQ right now.
Right. Let's rank them in order from 10th to first in a preference. We'll start with our least favorite livery. I've gone for. We'll just list them off, and if you want to give a reason, do. If not, just say.
I haven't done a list,
team
so I'll just
name.
either agree with. I will be the mediator between you two and say yes, that sounds good.
Okay. 10th, stick.
I
don't like it.
I think but bottom line. Actually no, I'm gonna go Haas because it's just a hat. Actually no. Actually, let me think. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go Haas.
Well, I've put Haas down as my 9th. So, Ryan, you can have the decider here. Which do you dislike more?
You see, this is now a bad point because I actually quite like the Haas too, but I don't think that the steak one should be written off just yet because they might fix it. But for now, it is still the steak at the bottom. Yeah, steak is quite stinky. Yeah.
Okay. Well, 9th I've obviously put down the Haas.
Well, yeah, I might as well say Haas again then.
Yeah. Okay, Ryan, agreement, 9th.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's better than finishing last.
8th, somewhat controversially. Visa Cash App, RB.
No.
Ooh.
I think in 8th, I'm gonna go for this might be a bit controversial. I think I'm gonna go for the Williams.
Ooh, okay. I put Williams starting my 6th, but in that sort of middle part, it's very. They can change. Is there enough change in the Williams livery? Was that livery iconic enough to warrant not being changed? No. Therefore, if Ryan's in agreement, I'd be happy to put that down in 8th.
I'm just seeing. I don't know. So you're saying, so Tom's saying Williams?
Yeah, I'm going Cash App.
You're saying the Cash App. Williams does look. Yeah, I'd rather have the Williams over the. Oh, actually, no.
Well, Tom, where was the Cash App in your top 3?
Yeah, I'd say.
If so, don't.
Oh,
it is okay. So we'll park that. What we'll do is we'll come up with a definitive Apex top 10. So we'll park the Visa Cash App and the Williams for now.
Okay.
I'd rather have the Williams. I'd rather have the Williams.
Okay. Well, let's go for all rankings to see where we find common ground if we can agree.
McLaren doesn't make it top 5. I'd say you got to have McLaren in like 7th or 6th.
Yeah,
I've got McLaren in 7th.
It's very mid.
Yeah, we could put it 7th then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have just
the McLaren. Yeah. In your opinion, is the McLaren nicer than the Visa Cash App or the Williams?
Yeah, it's the McLaren is nicer than the Williams, but not as nice as the Visa Cash App.
So should we go Williams 8th, McLaren 7th?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if we're in disagreement, should we put like the Visa Cash App in like 5th or 6th?
What if you put down for 5th?
I'd say 5th.
No.
I'd say 5th would
Well,
be.
who did you put below McLaren?
I think below McLaren. So yeah, I'm getting lost. I think below McLaren would be. I say McLaren. So I'd say the order for me is, I'll go Haas. Then I go Haas. Then the William. No, I'd go Haas. Let me think.
The Kick Sauber.
Yeah, Haas.
Kick
I
Sauber.
think actually, yeah, I'd go Haas. My order, I'd go Haas, then the Williams, then I'd go then I'd probably go McLaren in 8th, then I'd have the Stake, then I'd have the McLaren, then probably Ferrari, Alpine, RB, Mercedes. Oh, actually, I'm put the Red Bull. Flip, I forgot where the Red Bull. I put the Red Bull maybe around 5th. Actually, I'm getting lost on this.
Well, I'll run through mine.
Yeah.
And then Brian, you can give your thoughts on both of our tier lists. How about that? 10th Stake, 9th Haas, 8th Visa Cash App RB, 7th McLaren, 6th Williams, 5th Red Bull, 4th Alpine, 3rd Ferrari, 2nd Aston Martin, and 1st Mercedes.
I don't agree with the Mercedes being top. That's probably one I'm strongly not for. Like,
Tom,
the
run through your top
presentability of
10.
the Aston and the Alpine are probably and the Red Bull are far nicer than the Mercedes in my eye. Mercedes peaks just 4th for me.
What would you say? What would you say, Richard? Sorry.
Run through your top 10 in order from 10th to 1st.
So I'd go my top 10. I'd go starting off with. I'd go with the Haas at the bottom. Then I would go for. Then I'd go for the Williams. Then I'd probably go. So I'm Williams, Haas, Williams. Then I'd go probably for the. Then I'd probably go for the Red Bull. Because I don't know, I get bored of them being samey. So Red Bull in 8th. Then probably 7th. I'd go for the. I'd probably go 7th for the McLaren. Ish. Then in 6th, I'd probably go for the Stake. 5th, I'd probably have Ferrari. And then I'd probably go in 4th, I'd have the Aston Martin. And then 3rd, I'd have the Alpine. And then 2nd, I'd have the Mercedes. And 1st, I'd have the Visa Cash App RB.
Very mixy.
I really like
let's just say none of us can agree on anything.
Yeah. Let's move on to preseason predictions, where we'll start with. Well, we obviously can't do race winner pole position, so we'll start out with the overall fastest driver. So once end the testing, the driver who set the fastest lap, which am I right in saying last year at one point was Zhou Guanyu at one point?
It was actually, yeah. It was like the second day.
Yeah, so testing, obviously, we know what testing is like. For the casual viewer, it's great that it's on for people who are really into F1. Know that if Williams go top 2 in every single session, it genuinely means that every other team's got loads of sandbags on.
Aston Martin were quick in testing last year and then ended up being quick for the early part of the season. So,
And then how quickly did they drop off as well because they
but
thought
that's
they
just
had it sorted. Exactly.
yeah, they didn't
Yeah.
upgrade very well.
So, we had the tiebreak because last season you drew level.
Oh yeah.
Who won the
Well,
tiebreaker again?
We're starting predictions early already.
We didn't do one because I didn't want.
Did we
I
not?
don't think either of us wanted to bottle it. Well,
Oh,
I
okay.
definitely didn't want to bottle it because
We
I'd
took
like
the
two other
draw.
people
We
on
took
my
the
shoulders.
draw.
So
Oh yeah. Well, Ryan, given that you won, we co-champion single-handedly. You only had yourself. I'll let you go first. Who do you think will be the overall fastest driver in preseason testing?
I think Tom knows, and I think you know exactly who you're going to put in that piece of paper right now.
Well, should we put a full season ban on Verstappen to make things interesting?
We don't know how the Red Bull is going to be yet, though. This is completely blind. Like Mercedes put side pods back on their car, they could come out like I don't know. They could be Doc and Marty going back to the future and just bringing all these magical parts that they found.
If Verstappen wins 4 out of the opening 5 races, we're banned from using Verstappen. Okay. So are we all in agreement it's going to be Verstappen all around?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I'm going to be different.
And you're going to be dumb for doing that, and this is why you drop points.
We'll go for Verstappen.
And watch that, it'll be Pierre Gasly.
Yeah.
I think it'll be Joe Granu.
I think it'll be Logan Sargent.
Yeah. Well, this is one where we probably will be different. Most laps, because you have to factor in some teams will run your junior drivers. Some teams won't. And some teams will have awful reliability and end up sitting for the first 2 days. Or if it was like Williams a few years ago, not even turn up on the first day.
Yeah, late parts.
I think
Tom's a bit safe.
I think it'll be Mercedes because firstly because I think they're a team that obviously want to get back to the top. So the more time they're on track, the more things they're going to learn about the car, and there you go. It's just I think they won't want to be seen as the team that has tried the most of the test, and I think as well it's a great opportunity to maybe. It'll be interesting if they do this to swap out Hamilton for some of the days for a different driver that they could potentially then use towards deciding who is worthy of replacing him, depending who they put in the car potentially. So it'll just give some track time to a driver that maybe they could consider for next year. So it could be smart from that point of view. So I think I'd go for Mercedes.
Yeah, the only issue I think with that is Frederick Vesti can drive the Mercedes, but I think Mercedes, their only option outside the current F1 pool is probably Kimi Antonelli, who won't have enough super license points as far as believed to even get into the Mercedes. So
I mean, it could be an opportunity just to test Vesti though. He could surprise them.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go for Williams because I feel like they're a team that will just want to get as many laps out as possible. My only slight worry is obviously with Logan Sargent. There might be a few spills here or there and cost some valuable track time. But even if they do send out some of their junior drivers, it will still be an interesting one. Tom, do you think with teams doing loads of testing and loads of laps, they're already potentially showing what they've got far too early? And do you think some teams will sandbag this year?
Almost definitely. But I don't think doing a load of laps is giving away how good they are, because I think some teams have done loads of laps in the past and haven't been the best team throughout the season. So I think I feel like they'll be sandbagging because it's the smart thing to do. You don't want to be like, wow, I've shown up this car and it's amazingly quick. Everyone, you should copy me right now. But if you hold back a little bit, it does mean probably going into the season, you are going to have a little bit longer before everyone else starts going, hey, I quite like what you have on that car. I'm going to copy it. So, yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, I think there's no questions asked. They'll sandbag, but yeah, I don't think necessarily the team that does the most laps will be the most competitive.
Ryan, team with the most laps for you?
Are we also doing driver with the most laps?
We could do. It's just a bit risky given that we don't know the final confirmation of which days drivers are doing. We can do that one if you would like, as maybe a bonus.
Because I know exactly in my heart who's going to drive the most laps single-handedly, run rings around every other driver on that paddock.
And who is that?
And his name is none other than both junior driver and senior veteran Fernando Alonso.
Okay.
Now, if you want me to
we'll
pick
do
a
that.
team, I'll pick a team as well. But I'm just saying he's going to do
Yeah.
it single-handedly above everyone else. He will do 3,000 laps within 2 days magically. Somehow he'll do it. Whether he uses other teams' fuel, he will do it. He's just a Spanish wizard. But if I have to pick a team, it's probably going to be. It'll probably be Steak.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
For driver, I'm going to go for Valtteri Bottas because I don't know. I think he's yeah, I don't know. I can just see him sitting in the car for a very long time.
He's got a lot to lose, so he needs to be damn sure he's got his ducks in order.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Obviously, with Audi coming in, we'll want to look quick, so might as well. The only way to do that is by learning the car. So, yeah.
I'm going to go for Albon, linking it to my
I
prediction.
forget Alex is even here.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking he's in his Red Bull off season. I keep forgetting he went to Williams.
The fewest laps for a team. I'm going to kick things off and go Red Bull because I think they'll just turn up and go, well, the car drives. Yeah. Not push the car too much, not show too much, and then send them out in the final 10 minutes for a flying lap that goes 15 seconds faster than anyone else. Ryan, fewest laps?
Ferrari.
Okay.
Just reliability.
Yeah.
I was like, what other, right? So we can go Steak, we can go Haas, or we can just go for Ferrari. Whatever one has the most unreliable Ferrari engine. Okay, we'll just go with the manufacturer.
I think the Haas, because same reasons. I think it'll come out the pit lane and it will just immediately light itself, and someone will have to get a fire extinguisher, and it'll just do that every time. They'll be like, "Oh, it's fixed this time." Leaves the pit lane, and yeah, it's I don't see it being very. If it's not a competitive car, it's probably going to have some holes in it somewhere, and it'll. Yeah, I don't see it being very competitive at all, and it will probably be extremely unreliable.
Yeah. Ryan, it's time for your randomizer random number generator.
Now, on just another F1 podcast, three motorsport fans go head-to-head in a battle of terrible predictions based on a computer. It's time for Ryan's random number generator.
Okay, let me get... Who's the highest number this time? The highest I have
Piastri.
to...
Hasn't changed.
Piastri, yeah. Okay. Who's up first?
Me.
Got 31. 31.
Ocon.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a tough one, this testing, because you can be very vague or very precise. Could I say doesn't have a clean session, so he'll be involved in some form of incident, whether it's spinning onto the gravel or crashing into the wall.
And are you really going to watch that many hours of testing to see if he does?
Of course.
You can keep me
Yeah, we'll
updated
base
with
it on.
mine then.
Well, we'll have to trust the various sources on that one, but we'll know that if Ocon has a clean session, it won't be mentioned anywhere. So we'll do our thorough research on that one.
Yep.
Ryan, your turn.
Okay, me. 53. So that's... It would have been Alexander Rossi, whoever that guy is, some American. What did I say? 53. So up to Carlos Sainz, who I didn't. Carlos Sainz has a mental breakdown over the fact Lewis will be replacing him next year. I mean, he is going to exceed 300 laps himself and does not have any incidents the whole testing.
But Ferrari is your most unreliable team.
Yep.
Okay.
I said
So
he will not cause any incidents. I did not say the incidents would not be caused outside of his control.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I mean, he can't have an incident if he can't get out on track.
That's very true as well. Very, very true.
Right, for the final time.
We click again. Click one more time. Okay, that ended on 31 as well. How does that happen? 66. Okay, that sounds like a good number. So we can go 63, Giorgio Russo.
So what could he do?
GR63.
Yeah, I'm going to say sets more laps than Hamilton. Is that allowed? Potentially, not saying he sets the most, but like he sets more than Hamilton.
I like you off as the first prediction of the year.
We'll give you an easy one.
Yeah. Okay then. So, well, that has been a long episode. We've discussed numerous topics. There's news, the launches, and of course, but we haven't really talked about testing because there's not really much we can talk about, other than the fact that Red Bull will probably be quick, and that's about it.
And the fact we're glad it's no longer in Barcelona.
Yeah, Bahrain's pretty good actually.
It's nice.
Yeah. I like Bahrain. It's a good circuit. It's just nice. It's a nice circuit to look at visually as well, even though they're not
daytime
racing,
and nighttime.
Yeah, it's just like it's got like the cool lines in the ground and stuff, and you can just look at it and be like, wow, that's a nice circuit with those lines and elevation changes and like squiggly corners.
Yes, wow, because who needs Spa with its elevation changes and squiggly lines?
Yes, no, I prefer the circuit in the middle of the desert.
There we go. Yeah. So session times ends early start UK 7 a.m. GMT to 11 a.m. and then it's 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So nice early start, afternoon finish for the sessions on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then we have a week off, and then next Friday, the new Formula 1 season starts. I feel like after talking about Formula 1 for an hour, I'm starting to get excited for the new season.
Nah, I'm still bored, man.
Yeah, no, I'm just waiting for.
When you hype this up,
wait until testing actually happens, and then there'll be the hype. It'll be like, okay, there could be some competition this year. Okay,
I'm not.
Final prediction.
Yeah.
First driver out on track.
First driver out on track.
Because last year was Mercedes, because I remember sitting
testing
the time.
Pods again.
They mean business. So I'm gonna go Williams as the first team out.
Mm-hmm.
And the first driver out being Albon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Tom, go for it.
I was gonna say I had one in mind. I'm gonna go for Red Bull because the whole kind of philosophy behind this year's car is we're not happy. We're not just happy with dominating. We want to continue this domination. So I feel like going out the pit lane first shows how much they are still committed to being the fastest team on the grid.
Yeah, my thinking is actually has to be the very last team in the pit lane this year.
Because they'll be on
So
fire.
you could look at that logic of, well, they just have to go tiny bit. It'll be Lance Stroll probably anyway, but Ryan, Tom, who Verstappen, Perez, or Isaac Kaiser, who's out first?
I'm gonna say Verstappen. That's probably a mistake, but never mind. It will probably be Perez now. But
Ryan,
Yeah, you guys are dumb because the first car. Now you need to write this down, okay? Do you want the driver or do you want the car that's going to be out first? Okay, well, the driver is going to be Van der Merwe, and it's going to be the medical car or the safety car. So, that is going to be the first car on the track. So I think I've already won. So, but we'll go team-wise. We'll stick our good friend Logan out there because he needs a lot of laps.
Okay. So you're hoping that Sargent starts for Williams. I hope that Albon does. So yeah. It's gonna be an interesting one. Final thoughts then before I round out this episode.
I want that safety car point.
It has been noted.
Yes.
Final thought. Just be good. Please be good. Just be close, please. Just for the love of everything, be close. Just don't be a Red Bull just going up the road and being like a second in the lead. Just be good. Good, close racing. Just cars overtaking each other. Just please, something like that. I can't have another season where I've got literally watching a train of cars and Max Verstappen like 30 minutes up the road. I just need overtakes, please.
I hope Red Bull pull up on the first day of testing with 2 different cars, and Max Verstappen is in a side podless Red Bull and just absolutely dominates.
It would be quite funny, given that
just the biggest middle finger to Toto Wolff.
Given the Mercedes ran with that and stuck by it and didn't work, Red Bull can master it. But if anything,
masterclass.
That is a I am him statement from Adrian Newey.
Yeah,
like that is.
Yeah. Although I think Mercedes will spin this as it's a massive compliment because their designers had designed this concept that worked. They just couldn't utilize it right. So
yeah, they were just.
But
it was just a concept.
It's basically looking competent though, doesn't it? It's just like, well, yes, we did design it first, but we didn't know how to use it. Yeah, we'll just put it on here. Hope for the best. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, that has been episode 2 of season 5, just another F1 podcast. Ryan, Tom, thank you for joining me. Thank you to everyone who's been watching and listening. We'll be back after preseason testing to discuss all of that because I know both of you will be watching all 8 hours every single day very closely so we can analyze everything. Am I correct?
I have a news day one of the days, so I won't be that day. But
yes, full confidence.
It'll be on work. Don't worry, it'll be on work.
Yeah, I'll get Adrian to put it up for us.
Yeah. But anyway, Ryan, Tom, thank you for joining me. Thanks everyone for listening, and we hope you can join us in the next one. Goodbye.